Hey guys, today we're gonna be taking a look at my dream AR15. So it seems like every year I end up building a new dream AR15, and I like doing that just because things change, new products come out, and I end up trying to upgrade and make the best gun for that year. I trust this gun with my life. This is the one that is my primary gun, so I want to make sure it is with the best parts. It started about 2 to 3 years ago with the original Zeus. Here's a picture of it. Unfortunately, I don't have it with me because my wife carries that with her. That is her defensive weapon. And as you can see, the parts on there are quite a bit different than this one. It's changed a lot. And that's just because when I first started, that was the first gun I built. And you can kind of see where my taste changed and the things I like. If you've seen that video, I do have a video on that gun on my YouTube channel. But you can see how the things I've tried, tested, used, and know now what is better, how this one has improved on that. So then after that gun, last year I built the Zeus 2, which is right here. I have a video on this one as well. If you haven't seen it, check that one out. This is pretty much identical from the video. The only thing I've changed since then was Magpul Pro sights. Very good upgrade if you're looking for a good sighting system. For backups, I definitely upgrade or recommend those over the plastic ones that they have. So with all that being said, this is the new one that I built. It's really similar to that one just because there's a lot of good parts on this gun that I like, so I just carried them over and built this one. So we're gonna start from back to front and just go over all the parts, all the things that I have on here, why I like them, why I use them, and hopefully I answer all your questions. If I don't, just put one down in the comments and I'll try to answer them through there. So this is the most expensive gun that I've ever built. It's looking at about $5,200 for this whole gun. And before you freak out, the most of that extent is gonna be the optics and mounts that are here. So you can build this gun without optics and mounts for around $2,000. The scope alone is $2,000. So this whole setup right here, all the optics is about $3 grand. So that really is the main cost of this gun. So when you hear the $5,200, don't freak out. It is expensive. That's a lot of money. I never thought I'd own a gun this expensive. But if you want something that's going to defend you and your family and protect you, I've started to learn that buy once, cry once is a real thing, and you might as well buy the best stuff, because when crap hits the fan, you're going to want the absolute best, the best to defend your family. So with that being said, let's get right into this and go over all the parts. I got the SBA 4. The reason I went with the 4 over the 3 is because it's got a little more rigidity, and aesthetically, I think it looks better. I have a YouTube review on both these braces, the 3 and the 4, talking about why I like the 4 more, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. But the SBA 4 is a fantastic brace. I think adjustable braces is the only way you should go at this point. There's so many really good options, but SB Tactical is my favorite. They make amazing braces. I know Gearhead Works comes out with some really nice stuff as well, but I think this is a superior brace and probably the best on the market currently of the time of this video. So nothing special with the buffer tube. It's just a buffer tube that I think it's Aero Precision. I believe it came when I bought the lower. Then you got a Law Tactical folding stock adapter. Very nice folding stock adapter. I have a video on the Sylvan Arms and this one as well. The Sylvan Arms one, I started running into issues, so I took them off all my guns. They do have a Gen 3 that they say is more improved. I have not tested that one yet, but the Law Tactical I have tested a lot. These things are bulletproof. So really good folding stock adapter, and this helps me be able to actually carry in my bag. I carry in a Vertex Gamut bag, and that is the only way I'm able to do that because it actually folds. Then I've got a Spikes Tactical T2, I believe, buffer, and a flat wire spring in there. I'm not really big into making sure like you have all the buffer weights and everything like that. I just had the T2 and the flat wire, so I threw it in this one because I thought it's an improved than what normally was in it. But you can really put some money into this stuff if you really want everything to work really well. But I've had no malfunctions with this gun or this gun, and they both just ran the T2s with a flat wire. And I've got a lot of other guns that just have basic springs and buffers. So you can really get fancy with them, or you can just go basic with them. I really don't think there's a huge difference unless you're having issues with cycling and things like that. Then I would dive into that and fix those issues. Next, I have the upper and lower from Aero Precision. These things are probably the best upper and lowers for the price you can get. A lot of people want to spend a lot of money on the lowers. I think it's going to make a big difference. As long as you get a quality lower, there's not much difference. Once you get into like the Aero Precision stuff and you go higher, they're all the same. All the quality control, they're just a lower. There's not much that they do other than hold your parts in. So I think these are fantastic. They got a little bit of a flared mag well. Nothing crazy, but just a little bit to help. And then it also has the trigger guard already in here. The next nice thing for builders out there that like to build their own, this detent here is probably one of the most annoying to put in, but this one just screws in instead of trying to hammer it in. It is so much easier and helps with a lot of frustration. So really good lower and upper. I do not have a video review on them yet. I'll probably do one eventually, but currently it's one of my favorite upper and lower receiver sets that I have. Also, there's not a lot of slop in there between them. Then I've got a Engage grip from Mission First Tactical. A lot of people ask me about these because they don't see them a lot. My comments on Instagram a lot of times are, what is that grip? What is that grip? And I really like these grip. It's got the same angle as the K2 from Magpul, which is huge because a lot of people like that more straight down grip instead of the A2s where they're really angled. So they got this really nice texturing. It's just like a light stippling, nothing crazy. The angle's good. The only downfall is there's nothing in here, no compartment. I wish they would add something like that, like the K2s. I think if they did that, they would have a much better sales on these, but unfortunately they don't have it. So next is going to be the Talon Safety Selector from Radian. These things are awesome. Very smooth, very easy, ambidextrous, and Radian makes really, really good stuff. So if you're going to get one of these, you know you're going to get quality, and I put these on every single one of my primary guns just because they're that good. They're worth it. They're $50. They're kind of expensive, but I think they're well worth it. Then charging handle, I have a Geissele charging handle. Now I normally run Radian charging handles is pretty much primarily what I run on everything. I wanted to try Geissele because I heard a lot of good things about Geissele as well. Never ran one before, so I bought 3 of these and I put them on 3 different guns just so I could get a lot of rounds through them. And so far they're good. I don't think they're better than the Radian. I don't think they're worse than the Radian. I think it's going to be kind of a personal preference. I like the Radian style better. I think it's a better look. That's a really awkward way to hold those. Hold on. I like the look of the Radian better. I think it's a sharper looking charging handle, but if you're thinking aesthetic, or not aesthetically wise, but if you're thinking just use and which one works better, I think they work about the same. They extend out, they give you a really good purchase on it, and they have nice grip on them, and they're durable. So that's not something that's gonna have to stay. I could put a Radian on there and switch that, but so far I do like that charging handle. Next is the Iron City Rifle Works bolt carrier. This is the Black Diamond. I had that in this gun, and it ran flawlessly. I never once had a malfunction with them, so I thought, you know what, it worked perfectly, so I put it in this gun as well. These are expensive bolt carriers, but when you're getting coatings, you want to get a good coating, something that wipes away. When this gets dirty, you can wipe it away with a rag. It's simple to clean. And like I said, I haven't had any malfunctions with these other than the very first time I shot this. And I shot this one probably 50 rounds and I had malfunctions through the whole 50. And then since those 50, I've not had a single malfunction with these bolt carriers. So really solid bolt carriers. I do have a YouTube review on those as well. I know we're skipping around a little bit here, but now we have the trigger down here. These are MPC triggers from Velocity Precision. I put these on a lot of my guns recently. I've been trying to find downfalls in them. The only downfalls I've been able to find is the pins walk if you don't tighten them really well, or what I've been doing is just Loctiting them, my screws, because for some reason they like to walk on these triggers. So ever since I've Loctited the set screw, I've not had a single issue. So that's a good thing, but those were the only problems I found with them. They have this crazy angle to them. The benefit to this, gun is clear. The benefit to this is instead of your trigger finger being back here, having to curl so far, it kicks out and then down, so your trigger finger is way up here. So it benefits in the fact that you don't have to curl your finger so far back to actually touch that trigger. So it is a really cool design. It's kind of a personal preference thing. Pretty much everybody that's ever used my guns to try them out and just play with them have really liked them. I also recommend Geissele. I think they make absolutely great triggers, and if I was going to replace this, it would be with a Geissele. But so far, I've really enjoyed these triggers. I shoot really well with them, and this one's a 4-pound. Now let's go up to the mounting and optics solutions here. So we've got a ScalaWorks Leap mount. This is a 1.93 mount, and probably one of the best mounts on the market right now for LPVOs in my mind. I think these are fantastic. A lot of guys run these and they run them really hard. Haven't heard any issues with them. They have these quick detach system that is so nice. You can just twist these, undo it, put it back on. I have taken this off on this gun and put it on the Tavor and then put it back on this gun, and I did not lose my zero. So it does a really nice job at keeping that. Then I have a Vortex 1-10 Razor. This is probably the best optic I've ever ran. Absolutely beautiful. I do have a video review on this one as well. Clearest glass I've ever looked through, and has a lot of benefits. Super durable. The only downfall I would say with this entire setup and with this optic setup is this is a really heavy gun. Compared to like something like this, it makes this feel like a F1 Firearms minimalist gun. So it is a pretty heavy setup. That's my biggest downfall with it, but probably one of the best LPVOs in that price range and market. I think Vortex really does a good job. And like I said, if you want more information on this optic, I don't want to go too deep into it. I don't want to make this like a full review on each part because then it's going to be a really long video. But I'll let you know which parts I have reviews on. So I do have a review on this optic if you guys want to see more information what I think about it, but so far probably one of the best optics I've ever ran. Then I've got a Valhalla Tactical Rook. This is an offset mount. What's really cool about this, and I get asked a lot of questions about this, is it's a adjustable, so you can make it closer, you can move it down depending on what's your optic setup, what you're running. I just adjusted this exactly where I like it, so I'll show some pictures of that. This is a prototype They are selling these, but this was the prototype. I got this early access and I was able to test it. And so far, the only thing I was worried about was these screws coming down and this starting to slowly fall down. Have not lost my zero on this so far. So we're good to go on that. If anything changes, I'll keep you guys updated. I've got a 508T Gen 2 on this. I just received this last week, and so far, it looks like it's superior to the Gen 1. A lot of people ask me about this optics setup that are curious about why I have a 1 to 10 times when I have a 1 power and why I have a red dot here. Now, the biggest benefit to this setup and what I've tried to show in some of the videos that I've done on Instagram is the fact that I can be on 6 power or 10 power and I can shoot 300 to 500 yards away quite easily with that magnification. And then if something closer comes up, I can rotate real quick instead of having to let my hand off the gun, rotate this down to a 1 times or try to shoot something at a 50-yard distance at a 10 times power. I can just do a quick rotate, take a shot with that. It is really quick. I did a video where I shot from 200 yards at 10 times, and then I went from 50 yards, and then 200 yards and 50 yards and 200 yards, and that to me really proved this setup to me just for the fact that I'm able to quickly go back and forth. And got a little carried away with that, but I know a lot of people are gonna ask about this optics setup, so I just wanted to make sure I explained that, and now you guys kind of know exactly why I'm running this. So there's everything for this side. I'm also running a Geisley lower parts kit, bought that from Brownells. Other than that, that's all on this side of the gun. So now let's go to the front end of the gun. Now let's go with barrel. So this is a 10.3 Hansen profile barrel from Ballistic Advantage. I have it on this gun, had a lot of good success with it with accuracy and everything on that, so I wanted it on this for sure. Originally, I put a 10.5 Aero Precision on it. There was nothing really wrong with it other than the fact that I really was set on the Ballistic Advantage. So I bought a Ballistic Advantage Hansen from Brownells, and then I swapped them. I put the Aero Precision on a different gun downstairs, and I put the Ballistic Advantage on this one. So I'm really happy I swapped it. So really good barrels. If you guys haven't used them before, definitely take a look at them. I don't have any reviews on them yet. Then I've got a Core V1 handguard from Cloud Defensive. Biggest benefit with these are the fact that you have the BCM locking, so you know that this is not going to be moving, especially for the fact that I have an offset mount on it, so you really want that to not move. So that's a big benefit, and the fact that it has a cutout here, and I do have a review on this, that drops the pick rail down here. So the flashlight sits a lot more flush. So instead of the flashlight sitting up here and being out of the way, this keeps it really down low and a lot more flush with the rail. Really cool handguard. It is really purpose driven though. If you guys aren't running a flashlight or if you want to run certain other things on here, it's not something I would recommend. Like I said, I do have a review on that to give you guys more information on that. They have 2 versions, the V2 or the cutouts back here for different tape switches. Very purpose driven. So if you aren't putting a flashlight and stuff on there, I wouldn't recommend it because there's a random cutout on them, which if you see that review, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But for this, it is perfect because I have the OWL on here from Cloud Defensive as well. One of the best and most durable flashlights I've been able to use. Biggest downfalls with this is going to be the weight and its size, for the fact that you can't do a lot more with it. You can't put a bunch of other things on here. You can't put IRs and things like that on with it. So, which doesn't bother me because I really just wanted a white light is the only thing I wanted on here because this is heavy enough, so I don't need to add a bunch more mumbo jumbo to this gun. So really great light. I do have a YouTube review on that one. Then I've got my slate black hand stop and rail covers. I really like these. I've heard a lot of good things about rail scales, and these ones just came at a lot better price. I think you can get this whole setup for like $30 or $20 or $25, something like that. It's a really cheap price. It is much cheaper than rail scales, and in my opinion, they do about the same thing. They have a nice texture to them. They come in different colors. I have some more downstairs I haven't put on a gun yet. I'm waiting for a new gun to build, and the hand stop does a good job. Where I like to hold it, I like to have my front finger in front and my 3 in the back, so I can push forward or back depending what kind of shooting I'm doing. If I'm doing really long range, you like to stretch that gun out and push forward, and if I'm doing close range shooting, I like to push back into my shoulder. So I like to have my fingers halfway. Like a lot of people like just to have it here or here. I like to be able to do both depending how I'm shooting. And then in the front end, I just have a bird cage. I might change that eventually to a Surefire or something like that, but I put bird cages on a lot of my primaries just because they're simple. They don't do anything crazy. I don't like doing comps because I don't think they're practical. Muzzle flashes are probably a good option, but bird cages work for me, so that's what they're on there for now. Like I said, I might change it eventually. But that is my whole gun. I'm pretty sure I covered absolutely everything on this. And if you guys have any more questions, like I said, shoot me a DM, or you can watch all my review videos because I have a review video on almost all of these parts individually. So that's probably the best place to go because you guys can get my exact thoughts. I just don't want to make this video last forever because it would if I explained everything, because I could really just get carried away and start talking about everything. So I've heard a lot of you guys' requests for me to slow down talking, and I'm working on it. I apologize. When I'm thinking and going, I get carried away and just start rambling. So sorry about that for those of you that are watching and are like, man, please slow down. Like, you talk way too fast. So I'm working on it. I'm trying to bring it down a little bit. Every part on this I 100% trust, and if that changes, I will update you guys, let you know on my Instagram. I always post there daily. If you guys haven't followed me there and you want to see updates constantly on what's going on, how products are doing, I'm the most active on there. So if you guys want to help me and support the channel and the things that I do, there's 2 ways in the description. There's Patreon, and then there are links to my website. From there, you can get links to like Cloud Defensive, Brownells, things like that. Anything you purchase using my link gives me a small kickback and shows those companies I'm generating flow and just helps a little bit with ammo cost, camera equipment, editing software, things like that. It does get expensive having to test all this stuff and buying. Obviously, it gets expensive having to purchase stuff to try to build these guns and whatnot. So I enjoy doing it, absolutely love it, and I appreciate you guys' support. If you do that, I appreciate it. If not, I just appreciate you guys being here, liking, sharing, subscribing. Another company that supports me a ton is Howitzer. Howitzer Clothing, absolutely love these guys. I support them a ton as well because they donate 5% of their proceeds to charity, which is really cool because they donated $200,000 to charity last year, and I'm excited to see what they do this year. So really support them, and they do a lot for me, and I appreciate them for that. I'm always wearing their clothes, as you can tell if you follow my Instagram. That's the only thing I wear.